Folks, Judd Zolgad, Andrew Kramer, 1500ESPN.com. Thanks for coming to the website. This is actually my twins hat. I got this on Friday night when things were still good here.
Is that what you wore to the wake?
Hey, so the weekend of hope.
Yep.
Twins, 3-game series. They could win. They could get in the playoffs. 0-3. Gophers, Northwestern. I put them on 9 wins. 27-0. Lynx, game 1 of the WNBA Finals. Kramer, this is going to be great. They lose. And then what we're here to talk about right now. That would be the weekend of hope if you count it up. 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6. Vikings lose to the Denver Broncos. You know what? I'm tired of being negative. The Vikings lose 23-20. We can get to the bad stuff soon, but we both agree this is a game a year ago. If the Vikings go into Denver and they fall behind 13 zip in the first half, they would have been cooked. This would have been 27-7. So talk about the progress that this team made, even in a loss.
Absolutely. After Ronnie Hillman takes a 72-yard run for a touchdown, they go down 10-0. My first thought is, wow, this looks just like the San Francisco game where the Vikings came out and got just absolutely rolled with 230 rushing yards, obviously, in that loss. Everybody remembers that. But this time, the Vikings were able to bounce back in part because of 2 interceptions off Peyton Manning. Anthony Barr makes a perfect read in zone coverage, comes away with his first career interception off Peyton Manning, and that led to the scoring drive just before halftime where the Vikings pulled within 13-10. I thought then at that point, wow, we got ourselves a game here. And there were a few times I counted them out toward the end of the game too. Before Harrison Smith got his interception, I thought it was a 20-10 at that point. Denver was up by 2 scores. It looked like it was going to be over. And again, the Vikings defense came away with a big play. And really even though Adrian Peterson was almost a non-factor outside of his 48-yard touchdown run on 4th down,
right.
This was a team that I thought had it had turned the corner after all of those close games last year. They didn't come away. You might think, oh, it's just another close loss just like last year. This was a team in Denver that would have steamrolled the Vikings last year.
I was not a huge fan of today's offensive game plan. Denver's defense is very good, but I was not a huge fan of the game plan. However, I did think that Teddy Bridgewater definitely made strides. The Teddy Bridgewater that we saw today, and by the way, he went 27 of 41 for 269 yards with a touchdown, sacked 7 times. I thought for what he was asked to do, he was pretty good.
I agree with you there, especially at the second half where at times I think he was 4 for 4 for 50 yards on one of the touchdown drives toward the end of the game. He was able to use his feet. Without his feet and his agility in the pocket, they would have been sacked 10 times. Now, it's going to look bad in the box score. Right. 7 sacks, 11 quarterback hits. He was under duress the entire time. But all those completions he made, the 270 yards he threw for, he was also under duress during all of those plays. And it goes to show the kind of poise he has in the pocket. You hear these things over and over with Teddy. But the big thing was that even while Peterson was a small factor in this game, again, outside of the one big run he had, Teddy was able to put the game on his shoulders. And who was he throwing to? A rookie in Stephon Diggs. He was throwing to Adam Thielen. He's throwing to guys that are not big, bona fide NFL wide receivers. He was without Charles Johnson. He was without Jarius Wright, who was active but didn't play in the entire game. That goes to show me that this guy's able to do it with nothing still at his disposal. And Adrian Peterson, their biggest weapon, you're right. If you're going to question one big thing about this, not only that they've stuck by Blair Walsh, who missed a field goal, but also the fact that Adrian Peterson had 10 carries in the first half and was really marginalized by the game calling.
Peterson finished with 16 carries for 81 yards, and as you alluded to, 48 of those came on a touchdown run that came on 4th down. All right, give me your theory on this. The 2 games at TCF Bank Stadium that the Vikings have won, they basically said, Adrian, it's your offense, just run. The 2 road games, the San Francisco game plan, I still am baffled by. Today, I'm not as baffled by today, but we went back to seeing Bridgewater used more in shotgun and Peterson getting the ball in those type of situations. What is your theory? Is Turner trying to transition this thing sooner than later to Bridgewater? Does he, if Turner's looking at what Denver was doing today and saying, all right, there's too many guys in the box, let's try and pass, then he's going against what Adrian has succeeded since 2007, the year he arrived here, which is you can put 9 guys in the box. If Adrian Peterson is still who they think he is, he can still run the ball.
Yes,
So I'm not sure what's going on.
And I think the big difference here is that throughout Adrian Peterson's career, outside of 2009 when he had Brett Favre here, the entire game plan and offense has been centered around him and running through a brick wall, which is 8-9 guys in the box. Now, Norv Turner has Teddy Bridgewater, and he wants to develop and bring along Teddy Bridgewater to ultimately be the leader in the driving force of this offense. That's going to be the 10-year plan with the Minnesota Vikings and Teddy Bridgewater. Well, what about right now in 1 year? And I think the long-term plan is trickling into the short-term plan in the sense that when Denver is a defense that is as good as they are on the outsides and obviously on the insides with DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller,
Sure.
they stack 8 and 9 in the box. Norv Turner is thinking, I need to then empower my young quarterback to take advantage of those one-on-ones, and he did at times. And again, he threw for 270 yards. Mike Wallace had his best day as a Minnesota Viking. They were able to move the ball. But to your point, Judd, in the sense that you can't marginalize your biggest weapon, there needs to be a middle ground there, in my opinion. I'm not totally saying that they need to do a 2012 offense and just hand it off 30 times a game, but there needs to be a middle ground where you're able to utilize Adrian more, and Norv Turner did that. After giving him just 10 carries in the first half, I think it was the first drive of the third quarter, they ran Peterson, and it ended up being a 3 and out because they just couldn't get anything going. So
right.
At some points, it's just...
But that's what you do with them. You just keep running them.
Exactly, but it can't be that black and white. I think Norv Turner himself is still feeling his way through the play calling with these Vikings.
Vikings about to go onto their bye. They are 2-2, so let's finish up with this. Blair Walsh. Blair Walsh kicked field goals today at 38 and 33 yards, but he also, in the first half, missed a 38-yard field goal, and the Vikings lose, by the way, 23-20. Are they going to address this situation in a league where the kicking has gone to complete horse bleep, and they have a guy who has been struggling with confidence now for months, basically, going back to the 2014 season? Do you do something now? Do you just accept this as your fate? Because the difference between the 2014 Vikings, Kramer, and these Vikings is this. The games will remain close. Last year they lost them and you said, mentally they're just not tough enough. This year you say, no, your kicker blew the game for you.
Yeah, for the sixth of his last 7 games, Blair Walsh has now missed a kick. That's going back into the preseason. Here's why I don't think they're going to do anything. And you brought this up on the podcast, Judd. Mason Crosby had a very terrible year in 2012 after proving he could be a solid kicker, and the
Right.
Packers stuck through it, rode it out, and here he's one of the NFL's more consistent kickers in the past few years. And Blair Walsh has shown he can be a consistent kicker. He showed that in 2012, his rookie Pro Bowl season. They just signed him to a contract extension, too, which is the biggest reason why there's not going to be competition for Blair Walsh. I would be very surprised, even though he did cost him a chance to take this game into overtime at least, I would be very surprised to see them bring in any kind of competition for Blair Walsh, especially when confidence is his problem, and bringing in competition is not going to foster confidence.
That's just fantastic.
That's it.
So Twins lose 3, Lynx lose, Gophers get shut out. Leidner's still going to start a quarterback. The Vikings. Hey, you know what? I don't feel so bad about the Vikings now. Yeah, they lost, but
hey,
it might be the most positive thing from the weekend.
Nobody's going to take it as a moral victory.
The
but
sun will come out
Judd will.
tomorrow. All right, we're done. He's Andrew Kramer. I'm Judd Zolgad. Thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. Check out all of Kramer's work at the website. Vikings Now on the Bye will return week after next. I'm sure we'll talk to you soon.